Yes, there's no difference.
There's no difference, only the way they act.
Go to America now with your red and blue bandanas.
Just Jack.
At that point, the police turned up and the lads scattered. That was the last we saw of the Crocky crew.
Obviously, you've just arrived in your car and they've disappeared. Can you tell us why you turned up?
Basically, we just had a report of males acting suspiciously with balaclavas, and obviously we've been called to the scene. So
right.
we're a bit concerned. Residents were a bit concerned, so that's why we've turned up.
So someone's rung up and then...
Somebody's rung up, yeah,
right,
and obviously
okay,
we've turned up.
Well, they've certainly left now.
OK, no problem.
Right,
cheers.
Thanks for your time.
All right.
It was time for me to head back to London.
It's the job of the Home Secretary to deal with the issue of gang and gun crime. Last year, she set up the Tackling Gangs Action Programme. I've come here to find out what effect it's having. Can you explain to me what impact the Rhys Jones case has had on government policy?
The death of any young person, any child, I think is something that I'm in this job to help to prevent happening. I think for lots of people, the death of Rhys Jones was particularly impactful. You know, the fact that a young kid can be caught up in the crossfire like that, I think, brought home to people the concern that there was about gangs and about violent crime. We had already begun working on what then turned into the Tackling Gangs Action Programme, but I think it proved to me that we needed to do something both to show that we could make a difference in tackling gang-related gun crime and to reassure people that we were able to do that. And I believe that we can, and that is what we've done.
There is a problem with young people in British society at the moment. They are becoming more violent. How are you going to get government policies over to those kids? How are you going to actually affect them and change the way they perceive the problems that exist around them?
Firstly, you're going to make sure that they understand that if they're carrying a gun or a knife, they're likely to be caught, and if there will be implications. Secondly, we need to then make sure as well that we're identifying those people who are now engaged in that sort of activity, that they're getting the visits from the police, that they understand that the police know who they are, that we'll use, as we saw in some areas, other ways of getting them and their weapons off the streets, you know, perhaps using, checking up on their benefits entitlement.
What do you do when people are not prepared to come forward and talk to the police, particularly in instances related around gangs and gang murders? For instance, there was a lot of silence around the Rhys Jones case. You know, a lot of people in the community clammed up, would not speak openly to the police.
One of the biggest things almost that impacted on me when I was talking to communities about this was quite often a real wish to do something about it.
But they're intimidated.
And a real fear, exactly, and a fear and an intimidation. So what do we need to do? Firstly, we need to make sure that witnesses are protected from an early stage. And then you just need a general view in the community that if you are speaking up against those who are gang members and who are terrorising your community, people will be on your side in doing it.
One thing I have noticed in my travels is if you threaten a very young person with a long prison sentence, it has little impact on them because the idea of spending 20 years in prison is totally incomprehensible to them. How do you get over to them that the fact that they're caught carrying a gun, they will be put away for a long time?
Firstly, we changed the law in order to make sure that happens. Secondly, particularly with knives, we're clear that if you're caught with a knife, you can expect to end up in court. And thirdly, I think you get people who've actually had that experience, gang members who've perhaps been in prison and come out the other end and who are willing to go and talk to young people about the reality of what it's like to be in prison. They might not listen to me, they might not even listen to you, but they may well listen to people who've gone through it and who themselves wish they'd made a different choice and perhaps can help other young people to make that different choice.
Home Secretary, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It may seem odd to finish a programme about Liverpool in London, but it's also sadly fitting. Because Liverpool's issues with guns and gangs is not unique. It's a problem that plagues London and the other major cities of the UK. The fact that firearms seem to be so freely available in such large numbers, particularly to our young, is truly terrifying.
The Rhys Jones case has highlighted the growing trend for casual violence on our streets. And as the toll in wasted lives grows, there has to be a debate at a national level on how we tackle this issue. Otherwise, we all will have failed the innocent victims of this terrible problem.
One of the best action movies ever. Bruce Willis vests up tomorrow night at 9 for Die Hard. See the action in awesome HD on Channel 170. Next tonight, the best goals and best bloopers from the football pitch, where sometimes it's easy to forget it's only a game.